Hare Krishna, Mass, please, among the obeisances. Glory to Prabhupada, सभी भक्तों को भी मेरा सादर प्रणाम है। आज हमारे बीच JapaTalk डिलीवर करने पुनः श्रीमान गोविंद भक्त प्रभु उपस्थित है। आप सभी को स्मरण होगा कि रामानुजाचार्य के आविर्भाव दिवस पे हमें प्रभु जी का सानिध्य प्राप्त हुआ था, जहाँ पर उन्होंने श्रीपाद रामानुजाचार्य की गुण गाथा हम सभी को सुनाई थी। और उस समय वो काइंड ऑफ सेशन 1 था, या उनमें उस सेशन में इंट्रोडक्टरी कवर करके और एक पार्ट बचा था। तो आज पुनः प्रभु जी हम सभी से वो आगे का उनका जो मिस हो गया था पॉइंट या समय की वजह से पूर्ण नहीं कर पाए थे, वो पूर्ण करेंगे। तो सभी भक्तों से अनुरोध है, आप जपा को विराम दे दीजिए और JapaTalk श्रवण करने के पश्चात आप अपने पेंडिंग राउंड्स पूर्ण कर सकते हैं। गोविंद भक्त।
हरे कृष्णा। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते राधानाथ स्वामी प्रभुपाद कृपामूर्तये कारुण्य विनय गुणसम्पन्न मम उद्धारक प्रभो। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते लोकनाथ स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते लोकनाथ स्वामी नाम रस प्रदायिने नाम रसोन्मत्तः मम उद्धारक गुरो। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। यो नित्यं अच्युत पदाम्बुजं युग्मरुकं व्यामोहितः तदितराणि तृणाय मेने। अस्मद्गुरो भगवतो अस्य रसै दयैक सिंधो रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for giving me a chance to continue with the glories of Sripad Ramanujacharya that we have discussed in our last session. So there are a few more things that I would like to bring in front of all of you, which will really nurture our Krishna consciousness. Because the wonderful pastimes of Acharyas, they are always inspiring us to become more serious and sincere in our devotional life. So in our previous session, we have seen that how Sripad Ramanujacharya has brought equality in the whole human society actually, because when he was present and preaching about the philosophy which was based purely on the God consciousness, God-centered, where it was very difficult that time to establish the social fabric in such a way that everyone can get opportunity to serve their Lordship. See, he brought the equality amongst the all caste that we have seen from the incident of Kanchipurna and Dhanurdasa. Then he did one more thing which was really wonderful, and that was he tried to change the whole social fabric that time, which was like a totally orthodox, and they were not allowing other than Brahmins to take part in the temple worship. So he came forth and he started giving initiation to everyone. It was he who came first and foremost, who came forward and started giving initiation to even the people who are outcasted from the society. And he started the Diksha system, which is known as Sri Vaishnava Dasa Diksha. And for that, what he got this Bhakti Siddhanta as the common platform where everyone can come together and they can perform devotional service for their Lordship. He was a great propounder of equality, and he believed in the equality, specifically in Adhyatma, in the common man's life. He preached the principle of equality, which is followed in his own life. He preached the Bhakti Siddhanta rather than the Jnana Siddhanta. He was a great scholar in Indian scriptures, and he wanted its essence to reach common people. Earlier to him, like Bhagavad Pad Sri Shankaracharya, he came and he proclaimed that Jnana Moksha, that is attainment of a moksha, is the only way. So Jnana Moksha means attaining liberation through the cultivation of a knowledge, and which is not possible for each and everyone, you know. So what he did, because everyone can't live on the Atman platform, as someone who has attended the Jnana, the first and foremost thing is that one has to elevate himself from the Dehatma Buddhi. But that's not the common way for each and everyone who can study the Vedanta, and then they can speak about Jnana, and they can cultivate knowledge and make progress to attain liberation. But Sripad Ramanujacharya, he spread the Vedantic essence among the common public by propounding Bhakti philosophy. He said Bhakti and Sharanagati are the important things to get salvation or get a liberation, and the more specifically to please the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. And Bhakti means unconditional love towards the Lord, whereas Sharanagati means complete surrender to the Lord. He proclaimed that the very essence of Vedanta is Bhakti and Sharanagati. In Bhakti Siddhanta, everybody can take part, even though they are not well versed in knowledge. Just by singing the glories of the Lord, people can get mukti. They enjoyed the company of other devotees, and it brought this senses, brought the sense of equality. And he preached throughout India and Nepal, and this Bhakti cult was established and spread like a forest fire that time all over the India. And many great teachers, like in North India, we see Ramanujacharya, then Swami Narayan, they accepted this Bhakti Siddhanta of Sripad Ramanujacharya and supported that in North India. So this, by using Bhakti as a platform to unite people all across the India, Sripad Ramanujacharya did a great thing. And to continue that, he started giving Diksha. In one of such incident, actually, which is recorded in Varadraya's Prapannamrit and other Sampradaya literature also, that initiation towards the Vaishnava to Dhanurdasa. Dhanurdas, who was born in Panchama class or Ponachi class, when Ramanuja gave him Dasa Diksha, he wanted to show that his preaching is practical. And according to the Bukka's inscription in Shravanbergo, there are 58 castes of that time received this Sri Vaishnava Dasa Diksha. And in this Diksha Pranali, what happens? with the Pancha Samskaras, anyone born of any caste, creed, or nationality can become Vaishnava. And they all are at the same platform, considering them as the servant of their lordship. The most important thing that Sripad Ramanujacharya did for this society is he gave entrance to Dalits, the untouchables, into the temple. Because a group of untouchables from time immemorial were not allowed to enter into the temples. And they were considered as a low caste. And they were treated as if like they are not human beings, and they are always considered as untouchable. And the equality and entry to the temple was an oasis for them at that time. And Sripad Ramanujacharya, in the society of 11th century, where people were so rigid in following their customs, which are very difficult or almost unbreakable and not changeable. But Srimad Ramanujacharya was a great humanitarian of a divine descent. And he decided to change this social fabric. And he wanted to remove some biased views of downtrodden community. He made a decision in Melkote, where there is a nice temple of Chelva Narayana. He allowed people from all castes, including these Panchamas, inside the temple. And that was like a first time in the history of India, untouchables were allowed inside the temple at the time of Varamudi Brahmotsava, which is going on there actually. Many people, they opposed, but it was when, because Sripad Ramanujacharya, he allowed them yearly once for 3 days during the Rathotsava. Tepatosam and the Rathotsava. These are the 3 days they were allowed. And many would ask, why only for the 3 days in a year? But they should understand that in the 11th century, it was very difficult for them to even go nearby the temple, but he gave them at least a chance once in a year for 3 days to go and render service directly to their lordship. And not only that, because of Ramanujacharya's efforts, today all are allowed inside the temple without any discrimination of caste and creed. And this is the best example of social reform of Sripad Ramanujacharya for his vision for equality. His mantropadesh is also a great example of equality. See, being the great Acharya, he always thought about each and everyone equally. And he followed Sri Vaishnavism, which is nothing but loving each other without any conditions and caring for each other, So there is a nice incident in his life in the early days when he desired to learn the inner mantra or inner meaning of the mantra, Mula Mantra, Tirukoshtiyar. He many times went to Goshtipura, where Goshti Purna used to stay. And almost for 17 times, he was denied by Goshti Purna to teach him the inner meaning of the mantra. And 18th time, when he was ready to narrate him, very humbly he sat and got that mantropadesh from Goshti Purna, the meaning of the Mula Mantra. And then he asked, if I give this meaning to the common man, what will happen? Then Goshti Purna told him that he will go to the hell. Then Sripad Ramanujacharya, he thought for a while. And then he went to the Gopuram of Goshtipura temple. And from there, he called everyone, irrespective of their caste creed. And he asked them to raise their hand and follow behind him and chant Om Namo Narayanaya. That's the Divya Mantra in Sri Sampradaya they chant. And when Goshti Purna came to know that, he became so angry. And he said, what is this, Ramanuja? Do you know what I told you? Yeah, you're going to go to hell by doing this. Then Sripad Ramanujacharya, very humbly, he bowed down in front of his Guru and he said, if all they are going to get salvation by chanting this mantra, and only alone if I'm going to go to hell, then I'm ready to do that. Let me go to hell for that. And then Goshti Purna really realized the broad-mindedness of Sripad Ramanujacharya and his unconditional love for all living entities. And actually Goshti Purna, he became his disciple. This is Sripad Ramanujacharya. And he is the one who introduced these Pancharatra agamas in the South Indian temples. See, most of the temples in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, this Panchatatra agama system is used for the worship of deities. These Pancharatma agamas are called as a Bhagavad Shastra, as mentioned in the Mahabharata. According to Mahabharata, the origin of Pancharatra Shastras goes back to Krita Yuga, when Srimad Narayana himself taught this Pancharatra text to sages in Shvetadvipa for 5 days. Thus they got the name Pancharatra. So both Pancharatra and Vaikhanakas are the ancient worship systems in South India. The word Vaikhanasa is found in the Vedas and thought to be more ancient by some scholars. So what is this Vaikhanasa and Pancharatras? So there are 4 or 5 things that actually differentiate this Pancharatra Vidhi and Vaikhanasa Vidhi. So the Vaikhanas Diksha, actually that is initiation of worship of Lord, is not given to any other than the Vaikhanasa community. Only the Vaikhanasa Brahmanas can learn this Vaikhanasa system, or like a Vedic system or with chanting of Vedic mantras. But Pancharatra will be given to all 4 classes of humans, Vaishya, Shudras, Brahmanas, and all they are eligible to become Pancharatrik and they can worship their Lordship. Pancharatra system is said to be originated from Lord himself according to the Samhitas, and they are called as a Bhagavad Shastra. Whereas Vaikhanasa system was founded by Vaikhanasa Acharyas, and so they are named as a Rishi Pancharatra or Rishi Shastras. As per the Vaikhanakas, they never allowed anyone other than the Vaikhanakas to worship the Lord. But Pancharatra allows anyone who has been initiated and received Pancha Samskaras. So Vaikhanaka system does not advocate the worship of Bhakta image. The deities of the devotees can be worshipped in the temple. They don't allow that. But Pancharatra can allow to worship the Bhakta image, or like we do, we worship the deity of Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on the altar. But Vaikhanaka system, they don't allow that. And Vaikhanasa system prescribes chanting of Vedic mantras during the worship but Pancharatra system allowed chanting prabandhas and the songs sung by the Alvaras and Vedic chant also. So, in a sense, Sripad Ramanujacharya, he promoted this Pancharatra system, but he never disallowed Vaikhanasa system of worship. The both systems you can see when you visit Tirupati temple, you will see that both Vaikhanakas, they are also worshipping Lord Venkatesha, and Pancharatras, both they are worshipping. And he is the one who introduced the worship of Alvaras in temple premises. That is Bhakta Bimba of the devotees of the Lord. Because Sripad Ramanujacharya wanted that the highest place should be given to the Alvaras. Because the word Alvara means whose heart is inundated with the love of their Lordship. And if these Alvaras are worshipped in the temples, it is an indication that no caste is superior or inferior, but only bhakti is superior. Because these 12 Alvaras are from the different social backgrounds, And to make this idea of equality true, he brought the worship of Alvaras in Vishnu temples. He introduced Pancharatra and supported it in grand manner because it allows the worship of Bhakta Bimbas within the temple premises, as said earlier. So the most important thing that Sripad Ramanujacharya, what he has done for a common people is that he has given an opportunity to each and every person to come forth and offer prayers to their Lordship. And that's why he introduced the local language in each and every temple. In Tamil Nadu, they have a Tamil Prabandhas, they sing in front of the Lordship when the worship is going on. In Andhra, you can see, if you go to Tirupati, you can see in Telugu, they sing beautiful songs of Annamacharya for the pleasure of their Lordship. If you go to Melkote, in Melkote, they sing Lakshmi Isha's Sangit Ramayana in front of the Chalvu Narayana when they worship him. So he brought forward the system where everyone can take part and glorify their Lordship in front of the Lord. And thus he gave like a 58 people belonging various classes. He gave different services to them. And these varieties of services are offered to them and family rights was given. So the generation together till today, they are rendering different services to their Lordship. If you go in Melkote, definitely you will see all these things are happening till date, almost for last 1200 years. Then the next thing, what he established, which created equality in the society, that is concept of dasya, the dasya bhava, Sripad Ramanujacharya wanted to give this Sanatan Samskara to everyone without any discrimination. He had chosen elevated souls from all the communities and gave them samskaras. A person who received special initiation was called Dasaya. And the initiation was called Dasya Diksha. So this Dasya Diksha consisted Samasharanyam, Mantrartha explanation. The initiated person has to perform samskaras to the members of his community without any expectation. And Dasya has to give up non-vegetarian food. He should have all sattvic ahara, and he should follow all the rules and regulation to keep himself clean and presentable, and they have given a particular dress code also. And they should carry Bhiksha Patra, conch, and image of Lord Hanuman or Hanuman, because Hanuman is considered as the emblem of Dasya. And by giving this Dasya Diksha, Ramanuja transformed all the low caste people as elevated samskaravantas, means who are reformed. And thus he brought unity among the Hindu people, and the same dress code, Nama, etc. were introduced. So all samskaravantas are equal as the Sri Vaishnavas. Even today's Dasayas are following the same tradition, giving samskara and message of Sri Ramanujacharya. And it is still alive, and very much this legacy is going on now. Then the next thing, what he did for establishing this equality, that is, he introduced this Tamil Divya Prabandhas. Divya Prabandhas are not only a Tamil songs, but those are the essence of Vedic scripture. That's why they are called as a Tamil Veda also. Actually, they were introduced by Sri Nathamuni. And Sripad Ramanujacharya regularized the recitation of those Divya Prabandhas in temples. And that's why Sri Vaishnavas, they are known as Ubhaya Vedantists. Who knows Sanskrit Vedas and Tamil Vedas are called Divya Prabandhas. This introduction of a Divya Prabandhams saw increased participation of a common male in temples. Because that is most important, because that introduced the local language, and because of introduction of local language, all the people, they started coming to temples. Even nowadays also people think, oh, those are South Indians, what we can do. They have their own way, or when they speak in their language, so we don't understand. But Sripad Ramanujacharya, he brought a equal platform where people can come and they can offer their prayers in their own language. So even you can see there are Sri Vaishnavas, they sing Tukaram Maharaja's Abhangas also. The most important thing what he has done, that is scriptural visualization of a Puranas and Agamas in the temple. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he introduced these dioramas. So he got that concept from Sripad Ramanujacharya. Because Sripad Ramanujacharya, like 1200 years back in 11th century, he introduced this system of having beautiful sculptures all around the temple, which can narrate the wonderful pastimes from Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Puranas. So the people in general, they can come and learn from those stories. So during the Hosyala time, actually, there were many temples were constructed, and there are beautiful stories that were narrated through the sculpture on the wall. There's one nice story I would like to narrate today. There's a story of a Virvar, which actually explains how one should live in Grahastha Ashrama and perform his all social responsibilities, his spiritual responsibility, how he should take care of that. So that's a nice sculpture of Virvar. The story behind that sculpture is, there was one soldier. He was a very strong and stout, very well built Kshatriya. So he went to the king one day and he asked that, I want to be your personal bodyguard. And king said, okay. But he said, I will take like 1200 mudras. Those days, they used to give 400 mudras, Swarna mudras to soldier. And he was asking for a 1200. So king was a little surprised, and the minister was surprised. Then said, why that much? He said, I'm very honest. And if time comes, I'm ready to give up my life for your protection. The king said, that's the duty of soldier, You're not doing something extraordinary that I should pay you like a thrice of what I pay for the normal. Then he said, still, Maharaj, you consider and let me know. But by seeing his confidence and enthusiasm to serve king, so king said, okay. And then they gave him just to testify him, they gave him the responsibility to protect the king at the night, And like all four praharas of the night, king, he kept his keen observation on him, and he was seeing that whether he's not lacking in his services, he's not a lethargic. And like a 7 days, king checked him, and king was assured that, okay, he is honest and he's doing what he's saying, So after a month and so, when they gave him his first salary, king and minister, they disguised and they followed him. They wanted to see what he does with that 1,200 rupees. So he went back. He went to the home and he divided that whole salary into 6 parts. The first part for Atmadhana, for himself. Second part for Dharmadhana, for Dharma, to perform all the religious activities. Then the third part for Stridhana, for wife. The fourth part he gave for his parents, Pitrudhana. Then fifth part, he gave it for king, like a Rajdhana, tax. And the sixth part was for future as a savings, So king was surprised and he looked at the minister and he said, actually, he's just taking 400 coins only. And other 600, other 800, he is distributing to others. So that's what one should do with his, for the grahasthas, one should live life like that. We can see that most of the temples in ancient era was built by the donation given by Matajis, because whatever they used to get, like their part from their husband and the part which is kept for the religious activities, both this, like among the income, 2 parts were totally used for donation, charity, for the social cause. 1 part was given to the king so that king can use that money for the welfare of the society. And 1 part was given to the family so that they were, 1 part is given for the parents so that the elderly people in the society can be taken care. So all this depiction of the stories around the temple, if they were seen by the common men, they used to get educated in that way. So that was the sublime concept behind having all these Puranic stories in the sculptural way all around the temple. And that was introduced by Sripad Ramanujacharya. And then he established Ramanuja Kutas, like Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He has what we call that Namahattas, through which he started preaching the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Sripad Ramanujacharya, he did it in 11th century. He started these Ramanuja Kutas, where the devotees used to come together and discuss, as we do Bhakti Vriksha right now. See, all these concepts are not new or newly introduced actually. These are given by all our acharyas hundreds of years back. Very systematically, they have established this system so that it can last long. And that's what we are seeing. For last 1200 years, this Sri Vaishnavism is still going on so prominently all over the India. Because the way it was structured by Sripad Ramanujacharya, so that equally people from all the level of society can take part and perform devotional service for the pleasure of their lordship. So thus we can understand Sripad Ramanujacharya introduced the equality in all perspectives and transformed Indian society towards the unity. He spread the essence of bhakti which reached the length and breadth of our country. Sri Vaishnavism upheld the bhakti, unity, and equality. Bhakti, ekata, and samanata. And we can see the South Indian temples are kept open for all the people without any discrimination. And now we see the same thing that Prabhupada has accepted. He came out of India and he traveled throughout the world and gave the same essence. And I read Sripad Ramanujacharya's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. And what commentary he has given, the same thing is there what Srila Prabhupada has given in the, just the words and the examples are changed as per the time, place, and circumstances. But the principle is the same. And that's why one of the lecture, or I think in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada writes that some lady, she wrote back to Prabhupada that you have not given something separate or other than what Sripad Ramanujacharya has given in his commentary. So there is no difference. The same thing is there. That is parampara. And whenever actually, when I read the Prabhupada Lilamrit first time and Sripad Ramanujacharya's biography, there's no change actually, if you compare both of their life, what they have brought to us, the principle of this equality, samanata. See, like most of the ISKCON devotees, they got initiated from the Swamijis who are born in the other countries than Bharatvarsha. And Prabhupada gave them that qualification by introducing this Pancharatra system of worship. We actually follow Pancharatra system only because we can't follow Vedic system because most of the ISKCON followers are not from the Brahmin by birth or Brahminical families. They are from the other classes of society. But Prabhupada, by the mercy of Purvacharyas, he gave the same conception, the same concept what Sripad Ramanujacharya, who developed 1100 years back, the same concept he established all over right now. And we are blessed that we got this chance actually to worship their Lordship, to render a personal service to the Lord. Even though we are born from any caste and creed or any locality, but by following this great Siddhanta of Sharanagati, which was given by Sripad Ramanujacharya, as I think one of our lectures we have discussed about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took two principles from these four sampradayas and he created this Gaudiya Sampradaya. So he took the Vaishnava Seva and Sharanagati, these two principles from Sripad Ramanujacharya. Because these are the principles which makes us humble and sublime and serious in performing our devotional service. So Sripad Ramanujacharya was a great Acharya who has established or who has changed the fabric of society actually, and who gave us this wonderful way to practice spirituality in our life at wherever we stay, wherever social order we follow. But main principle is dasya, the servitorship to the Lord and his devotees. Because in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad says that bhakti can be obtained by the mercy of Krishna and his pure devotees. A love of Godhead can be obtained only through Krishna Tad Bhakta Prasadaja. By the causeless mercy of Krishna and his devotee, we get this loving devotional service to the Lord. So let's pray at the lotus feet of Sripad Ramanujacharya that he has given and made us qualified to render devotional service to the Lord as per our capacities, as per our capabilities. So be grateful to him. And there's a simple way to be grateful to them is to follow the path that they have given for us very seriously and very sincerely. If you really want to be grateful for all these great acharyas, then we need to read their books and try to imbibe those things in our life so that the real goal for which they have given the scriptures can be fulfilled. So today I would like to offer my wonderful and humble obeisances at the lotus feet of His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj, who actually has saved my life, and Sripad Ramanujacharya, who has inspired me to take up this very seriously in my life so that I can attain the ultimate goal of rendering eternal service at the lotus feet of the Lord. Hare Krishna. So if anyone has any question or anything to discuss, we can open for that.
Thank you so much, Your Grace Govinda Bhakrta Prabhu, for this nectar.
Thanks.
Last session was kind of the first half or beginning of this session, and today you really concluded and emphasized the importance of Acharya and what our Acharyas have given to us in this most glorious Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, and also for how Mahaprabhu concluded and took the essence from each Sampradayas and gave the treasure to his own or our own Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we would like to take this opportunity to thank Grace Govinda Bhakrta Prabhu by loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. सभी भक्तों से अनुरोध है एक बार हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का उच्चारण करके हम श्रीमान गोविंद भक्त प्रभु का हृदय पूर्वक आभार व्यक्त करते हैं. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. साथ ही में सभी भक्तों की ओर से प्रभु जी के चरणों में प्रार्थना और निवेदन भी करते हैं कि भविष्य में भी हमें अपना संग सानिध्य प्रदान करते रहे और इसी तरह हमें अमृत का रस पान कराते हैं, जिससे कि हम हमारे आध्यात्मिक जीवन में आगे बढ़ने की जो एक प्रोसेस है उसमें दृढ़ता और गंभीरता प्राप्त कर सके. थैंक यू सो वेरी मच प्रभु जी. इसी के साथ हम आज के सत्र को यहीं विराम देते हैं. जैसे बताया गया था, पुनः आप सभी की जानकारी के लिए गुरु महाराज जी के द्वारा जिसको अहमदाबाद श्री राधा गोविंद देव मंदिर में संडे फीस्ट होगा शाम को 7 बजे से या कीर्तन संध्या. तो जो भक्त अहमदाबाद के आसपास है अहमदाबाद में मंदिर आइए, और जो अटेंड नहीं कर सकते उन सभी के लिए पूरा कार्यक्रम गुरु महाराज जी के ऑफिशियल यूट्यूब चैनल पे लाइव होगा. श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, परम पूज्य श्री लोकनाथ स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय, इस्कॉन वर्तमान आचार्य गुरु वृंद की जय. वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you again. Hare Krishna.